Hi, everybody. So we know today that the false confessions were false confessions. Dr. Bruce Frumkin hit it out of the park today when he was talking about Noor. I took a lot of notes from what he said, but as you know, basically, she was a shy, introverted young woman with a low IQ who was very susceptible to the tactics of the Reed method that law enforcement has used to intermingle facts with the facts they want you to believe into written statements that they put together on her behalf. That 11 hours changed her life. 11 hours with the FBI changed her life. She thought that she was helping them, and she stayed because she thought she was helping them, and she thought she had to. But it's clear now that they were taking advantage of this poor woman who's lost her husband. She was sleep deprived. She didn't feel well. She was separated from her son and afraid for him. She was in a room with male FBI agents for hours. Her husband had just been killed in a firefight with police and had murdered 49 people in a nightclub when she thought he was out with a friend. I mean, it's just unbelievable what happened in those 11 hours. It's just terrifying that this could happen to any one of the people. And the family wanted to say that they want to tell people, if you are ever questioned by law enforcement, make sure you ask for it to be videotaped and audio taped. We got a little glimpse today of what went on in that room when Dr. Frumkin was redirected with the prosecution. There was a back and forth over the discussion about Nemo, and they kept telling her that wasn't true. That wasn't true, that wasn't true. And finally, Noor says, okay, are you happy? She changed her statement, her denial. She kept denying, saying, he said he was out with Nemo. You knew that was a lie. No, I thought he was out with Nemo. You knew that was a lie. No, I thought he was out with Nemo. Finally, she says, okay, I knew. Are you happy? That was a glimpse into what happened in those 11 hours. They continued to tell her she was lying, she was lying, she was lying, until finally she told them what they wanted to hear. She initialed what they wanted them to hear so that she could go home to her son and get out of there. I can't see how there'd be any doubt in anyone's mind after today's testimony that this woman was railroaded. She admitted to things that weren't true to get out of there. You guys have any questions?
Yeah.
I mean, I can go on. 90th percentile in accommodating, 96th percentile in anxiety, 96th percentile in emotional stability, 90th percentile in submissive and deferential, being submissive and deferential to people around her, and 96th percentile, 99th in what people think. I mean, she was in the lowest even of people her age. She was 14th percent. 80-some% of people her age are smarter than her and more capable than her just in regular life, much less in an interrogation with experienced law enforcement. I can't imagine how horrible that must have been for her and how that changed the course of her life. All of the other evidence has been, you know, the defense has done a great job of showing, but this is what they hold up, those confessions. And today we learned that not only is it possible or probable, they're false. They're not true. And this is why she's here. This is why she's been in jail for a year and a half, away from her family, her son, 23 hours by herself every single solitary day, all this time. Can you imagine? She's 31 years old. Hasn't she suffered enough?
Susan, do you have any read on the jury? I mean, have you been through these kind of cases before? Have you got any read at all on the jury?
So I think that, you know, a lot of times when a government has a really strong case, by the time the defense puts on its case, the jury is no longer paying attention. They're looking up at the sky. They have their arms folded. we're very hopeful because the jury seemed to be leaning up in their chairs and taking notes and really listening yesterday and today. Yesterday they learned about the real Noor, right, from her family and friends, what she's really like, even from her, her husband's sister's, husband, talking about how he couldn't even have an adult conversation with her in the car, having her babysit. She was childlike. She loved Hello Kitty and lip gloss, and she was shopping for jackets and excited to go to California, right? Very immature young girl, very sweet, very kind. I don't want to take away in all of this about her not being very smart and being susceptible. She is a kind, sweet person who is wonderful to be around, and a wonderful daughter, sister, friend. But the fact of the matter is, we're here in federal court. She's here in federal court. You're taking this poor young submissive woman who was a mother first and possibly stayed in a bad marriage because she was a mother and put her in this building and likened her to people in Guantanamo Bay. You have got to be kidding me. Really?
Susan, Dr. Frumkin talked about Noor Salman being a submissive and shy person. Linda Moreno talked about in opening arguments that we would be hearing a lot about how she was a victim of abuse, a victim of a controlling husband. But that argument has been absent for the duration of this trial. Do you have any insight as to why that is, why the angle of being a domestic abuse victim is not played out in this trial?
I mean, I never thought that being a domestic victim was a strong part of the defense's argument. The argument has always been that Noor did not know what her husband was going to do and therefore did not aid and abet him because she didn't participate in the purchasing of the gun. She didn't participate in the purchasing of the ammunition for the AR-15. She did not participate in the scouting of any locations. And she didn't know he was going that night. She did not make up a story. She did not.
Despite that the facts.
Well, I think they showed enough to the jury that she did not have a job. She did not work outside the home. When his friends came over, she never officially met them. She never went out with him with his friends. She never went out to the gym. She basically was a mother who stayed home and cared for her son. She babysat her, her husband's nieces and nephews, and that she was never really, she wasn't an equal partner. And so the controlling aspect was that Omar didn't let her out very much, didn't give her any money, $20 a week, and that his controlling of her meant that they went together places as a family, but otherwise she wasn't a full partner with him in life, much less a full partner, someone he'd confide in on what he was planning to do and his terrorist inclinations.
Al, who's paying for this defense?
They're pro bono.
Al, when Noor was about to walk out for break, she looked at the family and she's like, and I know that you guys kind of communicate via like facial expressions or smiles. When she goes, I mean, what do you think? How do you think she's taking all of this right now?
That's the only moment she sees us really in person. That's the only moment she sees us in a person, and we want to give her the hope. That's because we trust in the jury. After I saw the jury, they intelligent, they smart, they paying attention. So we have faith in the jury, and hopefully she will come.
So you give her like a smile, or can you tell me why do you do that?
Just give her a little hope. I don't want her to feel a little happiness in her.
Uncle Al, so with that faith in the jury, what if they come back with guilty verdicts?
We don't want to hear
That's
that.
another step.
We didn't want to comment on that. Shannon, you had a question?
She seemed upset today when you saw Fritz was like, trying to comfort her through this. Did you notice that she seemed, it's got to be hard to hear people talk about how you're not intelligent, stuff like that. It cannot be easy. I mean, it's uncomfortable for us to listen to, let alone her. Did you notice that she was...
So, So look, there was an earlier part in the trial. There have been a couple of instances earlier where they talked about Omar cheating and where they talked about him looking at some unsavory sites. And I was told afterward that she was embarrassed about that. And she said to me before, I know people think I'm simple and they say I'm simple and I'm okay with that. But it's so personal. This trial has been so personal and putting things out there that you and I would never want the world to know. And here's a doctor, and he's speaking for hours about, you know, about how dumb she is and how she's easily manipulated and naive, and nobody wants to see themselves that way. And so I think that's hard for her to hear. She's a very sensitive individual. I can't express enough how just a good-hearted person she is. She, you know, people are saying she wouldn't hurt a flea. She's just a very good-hearted, kind, good-natured individual who's been placed in this awful situation because of what happened in those 11 hours.
Has she been aware throughout her life that she's a little intellectually subpar? You guys
Yes, I mean she was in classes for struggling students, and she knows with her friends that they don't talk about the same things. I mean, she's aware. Wouldn't you agree?
How would you talk about that?
Yeah.